Muthoni held her daughter close to her chest, phone pressed to her ear, and the tears could not stop. "Faith," he said, "our daughter is a mistake. He said she is not his. He said I am furniture in his own house." A pause. "And Faith, he knew. All along, he knew about the albinism in his own family. He let me carry the shame alone all this while." Then Faith's voice, soft, urgent. "Muthoni, don't cry. Come to me right now." 6 years, he let her carry a shame that was never hers. And the moment she finally learned the truth, she reached for the nearest hand. But my friend, not every hand that catches you is holding you up. Sit with me. Let me show you what Muthoni could not yet see. It was almost dark when Muthoni reached Faith's estate, the security lights flickering on one by one along the wall. Muthoni knocked, her daughter asleep now against her shoulder, worn out from crying alongside her mother the whole ride over. The door opened before her hand dropped. Faith pulled her in without a word, one arm around Muthoni, the other already reaching to take some of the baby's weight. She hugged her, held her close, and the tears came harder, the kind that had been held back all afternoon in front of the baby. She could finally cry in the arms of the only true friend she had. Sit, Muthoni." Muthoni sank into the couch, and the moment her body stopped moving. 6 years, Faith, 6 years I gave that man. I stood by him when his mother called me barren. I stood by him when the whole church was asking when it would be my turn. And this is what he gives me back. Faith knelt in front of her, took both her hands. "He does not deserve you. He never did." He knew, Faith. He knew about the albinism. His own brother told me Ezekiel has 3 daughters right there in his family. Daniel grew up watching it happen, and he let me think I had done something wrong. Faith's jaw tightened. She looked away for half a second, toward the window, not toward Muthoni. "Some men," Faith said slowly, "will let a woman carry a weight that was never hers, just so they never have to carry anything themselves." Muthoni wiped her face, nodding, grateful, not noticing how carefully Faith had chosen those words, not noticing that Faith had not once asked what would happen next, only how Muthoni felt. "What do I do?" "You breathe," Faith said. "Tonight, you just breathe. Sleep here if you want. I will hold her." She reached for the baby, and the baby went to her easily, the way she went to Ezekiel, trusting a stranger's arms without knowing what those arms had already done. My friend, watch how gently Faith holds that child. A snake does not announce itself by hissing first. Sometimes it is the softest hand you must watch closest. Muthoni let herself back into the house near midnight, her daughter finally asleep for good against her chest. The lights were still on in the sitting room. Daniel's voice carried down the hallway before she reached the door. She stopped. He was laughing, that soft laugh she had not heard directed at her in months, not the room-filling performance he gave at parties, but something lower, private. "Tomorrow morning then," he was saying, "I will come early. No, I am not going to the office. I already told them." A pause. Then, quieter, warmer than she had heard him in a year, "I have missed you too." Muthoni stood in the shadow of the hallway, her daughter's breath warm against her neck, and said nothing. She did not walk in. She did not ask who. She simply turned, carried her daughter to the back room, the room that had been hers since the night he called her furniture, and laid her down. She did not sleep. She lay in the dark, staring at the ceiling, replaying the warmth in his voice. "I have missed you too." Words he had not said to her in longer than she could remember. A man who has forgotten how to be gentle with his own wife. Somewhere he is still keeping that gentleness alive. He did not lose it, he only stopped spending it on her. By morning, Daniel was dressed early, humming to himself as he checked his reflection in the same mirror where years ago he had once said, "We look good together." He did not look at Muthoni. He did not say where he was going. The gate clicked shut behind him. Muthoni stood at the window, watching his car pull out. Then she picked up her keys. She kept her distance, 2 cars behind, her heart pounding harder with every turn that took him farther from the direction of any office. He drove past the estate roundabout, past the row of shops where they used to buy fruit together on Saturday mornings, and turned into a quiet residential area. He parked outside a gate with pink bougainvilleas spilling over the wall. Muthoni pulled over a distance back, engine off, hands gripping the wheel. She watched him walk to the door, watched him knock, not the knock of a stranger, but the easy, familiar knock of someone who had done this many times before. The door opened, and there was Faith, Muthoni's best friend. She opened the gate the way a woman opens a door for someone she has been waiting for. She smiled at him, the same smile she had given Muthoni the night before, kneeling in front of her, holding her hands. Daniel stepped inside, and she kissed him. Faith's hand rested for a moment on his chest as the door swung shut behind them. Muthoni's breath left her all at once, like something had been struck out of her chest. Her hands flew to her mouth. A sound came out of her, not quite a scream, not quite a sob, something in between, something she did not recognize as her own voice. "No," she whispered. "No, no, no." She gripped the steering wheel, her whole body shaking now, tears coming so fast she could barely see the gate in front of her. 6 years. Every hospital visit Faith had sat through with her. Every time Faith had said, "He does not deserve you." Every time Muthoni had cried in her arms. She pressed her forehead against the wheel and wept, the kind of weeping that comes from somewhere old. Her shoulders shook, her chest ached with it. She did not know how long she sat there before the crying finally emptied itself out of her, leaving her hollow, her face swollen, her hands still trembling against the wheel. Only then did she start the engine. She drove home slowly, carefully, the way you drive when your hands remember the road better than your mind does, because your mind has gone somewhere far away, still standing outside that gate, still watching that door close. Muthoni came home and found her daughter still sleeping where she had left her, one small fist curled against the blanket. She sat on the edge of the bed, hands still shaking from the crying, and reached for her phone. She scrolled through her contacts, fingers trembling so badly she had to try twice to unlock the screen. Old classmates she had not spoken to in years, market vendors, Daniel's relatives, never truly hers, a cousin she had drifted from after the wedding. She kept scrolling, searching, and the list kept ending in the same place. There was no one left to call. And the tears came again, harder this time. She was all alone. She thought of every gathering she had turned down over the years, every old friendship she had let go quiet, because all she had ever wanted was a peaceful marriage with the man she once believed was her idol, and one true friend beside her. Just Daniel, just Faith. She had narrowed her world down to those 2 people on purpose, believing it was enough, believing peace meant needing no one else. And now the only 2 people she had left had taken that peace and turned it into betrayal behind her back. She curled forward over her knees, phone still clutched in her shaking hand, and sobbed the way she had sobbed outside that gate, like something being wrung out of her a second time, because now it was not just shock, now it was the full weight of it. Alone, truly alone, in a house she had built her entire life around. Her daughter stared at the sound, small fingers reaching out in sleep. "It's just us," she whispered, voice breaking. "It has always just been us." That night, Muthoni lay still on the bed, lost somewhere deep inside her own thoughts. She did not hear Daniel come in. The only thing she noticed was her daughter's breathing beside her, small and steady, the one sound in the house she still trusted. By morning, she had made a decision. She reached for her phone and dialed a number she promised herself years ago she would never call for something like this. Her mother. Because Muthoni's mother was not a gentle woman. She was not a woman you called for comfort. If you wanted a soft word, you did not call her. But if you wanted the truth sharpened into something you could use, she was the only one who ever gave it plain. "Mama," Muthoni said, her voice breaking before she had even finished the word. "It's Daniel and Faith. Daniel is cheating on me with Faith. Mama, my best friend." There was a pause on the line, short and unimpressed. "I always knew there was more to that Faith," her mother said. "I hope you gave her a good beating." "Mama, I'm tired. I'm coming home." "Home?" Her mother's voice did not soften. "And how will you feed that baby at home? If you are done with that marriage, then do not come to me empty-handed. Take everything that is owed you. Take what you need to raise your daughter." A pause. "If you are truly done, wipe your eyes and get to work. Start with the land in Runda. That land is yours as much as his." Muthoni set the phone down. She wiped her eyes, slowly, and something in her had changed. The gentle Muthoni who had spent 6 years absorbing every blow without lifting her hand, that woman was gone. That phone call had reached into her and awakened something older that had always belonged to her mother, passed down and waiting. She did not cry again that morning. She went to the cabinet where Daniel kept the family documents and began going through them one by one. The land titles, the account papers, everything that had a name on it. Her name and his. My friend, sometimes the softest woman you know is only soft because no one has yet handed her a reason to remember she was not born that way. Muthoni's mother did not comfort her daughter that morning. She reminded her who she was. Muthoni moved quietly and wisely from lawyer to lawyer, changing whatever names she had the legal right to change. No shouting, no confrontation, just paperwork, signatures, one property at a time. Daniel noticed none of it. He was too occupied with something else. Because around that same time, Daniel had started staying home a little longer in the evenings. One evening, Muthoni returned from inspecting one of their rental units. Having just finished signing the transfer into her daughter's name, she found Daniel on the veranda, scratching hard at his legs, his face damp with sweat, though the air conditioner hummed steadily behind him. She noticed it. She simply did not care. That love that used to catch in her chest at the sight of him was gone, the way a fire goes out and leaves nothing behind but the smell of smoke. Daniel looked up at her. She walked past him as though no one was sitting there at all. By the next morning, she walked into the kitchen and found him standing there like a leaf in the dry season, as if every bit of moisture had gone out of his body, leaving only something brittle behind. "Good morning, Muthoni." "Good morning," she replied, not stopping her movement around the kitchen. "Can I get a glass of water, please?" She paused for half a second. Please? Daniel had never said please, not once in 6 years. But she said nothing about it, only reached for a glass and filled it, setting it in front of him without a word. "You should see a doctor." She glanced at him properly for the first time. He looked unwell, pale beneath the sweat, his hand trembling slightly as he lifted the glass. Daniel, proud Daniel, the man who believed every problem in his life had a solution he alone could think his way out of, waved the suggestion away weakly. "It's something small. I will be fine." Daniel's mother arrived unannounced, the way she always had, letting herself through the gate as though the house still belonged to her son alone. She found Muthoni in the yard, car keys in hand, about to leave for one of her property visits. "You, wherever you are going, it can wait. Come and make tea for me." The old Muthoni would have turned back without a word. This Muthoni stopped, looked at her evenly, and said nothing for a moment, just long enough for the silence to sit uncomfortably between them. "Barren women don't make tea," Muthoni said. Then she walked to her car, got in, and drove out through the gate, leaving Daniel's mother standing alone in the yard, her mouth still open around whatever she had meant to say next. Daniel's mother marched into the house, ready to complain to her son about the disrespect she had just been shown. She called his name once, twice, no answer. She found him in the sitting room, collapsed on the floor beside the couch, his body damp with sweat, breathing shallow and fast. Whatever pride had kept him upright the past weeks had finally given out beneath him. "Daniel, Daniel, wake up!" She dragged him up by the arm, screaming for the driver, and within minutes had him bundled into the hospital, her hands shaking on the seat beside him, the same hands that had once told Muthoni so coldly, "Behave, you look like a barren woman." Pride can carry a man a very long way, but it cannot carry him off a hospital floor. Some things only the body confesses once the mouth has run out of lies to tell. The hospital corridor smelled of antiseptic. The same smell Muthoni had once sat in alone, years ago, waiting for a doctor to tell her nothing was wrong with her. Daniel lay behind a curtain now, hooked to a drip, his mother pacing outside, her wrapper twisted anxiously between her fingers, her lips moving in a prayer she had not said in years. Machines beeped steadily beside him. A nurse came and went, and Daniel lay there, staring at the white ceiling tiles, feeling smaller than he had ever felt in a body that had always, until now, obeyed him without question. When the doctor finally came in, he pulled the curtains shut behind him, his face composed into the particular gentleness doctors use when they are about to take something from a person that can never be returned. "Daniel," he sat on the edge of the stool beside the bed, "your results are back." Daniel pushed himself up slightly against the pillow. "Tell me." "It's syphilis, advanced stage. It has been in your body for some time, untreated." The doctor paused, choosing the next words carefully. "Daniel, you are HIV positive as well." The machines kept beeping. Nothing else in the room made sound. "The infection has caused permanent damage," the doctor continued, quieter now. "I am sorry to tell you this plainly, because I think you need to hear it plainly. You will not father another child. This kind of damage does not reverse itself." Daniel said nothing. His hands, resting on top of the blanket, had gone still in a way that looked almost peaceful if you did not know what stillness like that actually cost a man like him. "Your wife needs to come in immediately," the doctor said. "She needs to be tested. Your daughter as well." "No!" The word came out before Daniel could stop it, sharp enough that a nurse passing outside the curtain slowed her step. He shook his head again and again, as though the motion alone could undo what he had just heard. "No, not my wife." The doctor frowned gently. "Daniel, if you have been intimate with your wife during this time, she is at risk. This is not something we can." "It's not her," his voice cracked.
breaking apart at the edges. His mother's pacing outside stopped. She stood frozen just beyond the curtain, one hand rising slowly to her mouth. "Faith did this, not my wife." Daniel put his face in his hands, his shoulders folding inward, all the certainty that had carried him his whole life finally giving out beneath him. "Faith!" Behind the curtain, his mother did not move. She simply stood there, staring at the fabric separating her from his son, the name landing on her the way a slap lands, sudden and undeniable. My friend, there is a moment every secret reaches where it grows too heavy for the mouth still carrying it, and it falls out on its own, whether its owner is ready or not. Daniel had spent a year deciding which truths were his to tell and to whom. That morning on a hospital bed, the truth decided for itself.
3 days. That was how long Daniel stayed in that hospital bed. And in 3 days, Muthoni did not once visit. On the 3rd day, a car pulled up outside the gate. Daniel stepped out slowly, his mother's hand under his elbow, his body thinner than it had been a week ago, his steps careful, like a man walking on a leg he no longer trusted. Muthoni was standing on the veranda when he came through the gate, still, composed, watching him the way you watch weather approaching from a distance, not afraid of it, only aware of what it was. Daniel stopped at the bottom of the steps, his mother beside him, silent for once. "How are you? Where is our daughter?" "You are tired," Muthoni said, her voice even. "Go in and rest." He did not know what was waiting for him inside. He climbed the steps slowly, past her, into the house, and stopped in the doorway of the bedroom. Boxes, packed and sealed, her things, the baby's things, the wardrobe standing open and empty behind it. He turned back to find her now in the living room. "Where is my daughter?" he asked again, his voice smaller this time. "Now you want a daughter, now that you are sick." Muthoni stepped forward, unhurried. "I knew you were doomed the day I saw you with Faith at that door. I knew she was sick. I had heard enough over the years to know it. So the very next morning, I went and got myself tested. My daughter too." She let that sit a moment. "We are both fine." Daniel opened his mouth, but nothing came out. "She is with my mother," Muthoni continued. "If you are strong enough, go and take her from her. You know exactly who my mother is." She reached into her bag and placed an envelope on the small table between them. "This is the divorce. I have already taken what belongs to me. Manage what little is left." She picked up her keys. "I am done being furniture." She walked past him, down the steps and out through the gate without once looking back. Muthoni left with 2 things, her beautiful daughter and enough wealth to take care of themselves, while Daniel stood there, left with 3 things, syphilis, HIV, and the news that he could no longer father a child. My friend, a man once stood in that same yard and told a woman she was nothing more than a piece of furniture in his house. He did not know that furniture can get up and walk out the door whenever it finally decides it has been sat on long enough. My good people, this is how it ends for men who mistake love for something owed to them rather than something earned. If you take one thing from Muthoni's story, let it be this: peace is not the same as silence. Sometimes the most peaceful thing a woman can do is finally speak. If Daniel's story taught you something today, remember, the truth always finds its way out, and the ones we wrong quietly today may be the ones who walk away loudest tomorrow. Until the next story, my friend, this has been Mama Koko.